I am Gregory Hallows, and this is Preserve Halloween Podcast. So, I haven't recorded a podcast in a week or so because I've been traveling. I've been closing out my year for my other business. I've been getting ready for the Preserve Halloween Festival in November, which is taking up a ton of my time. And it's just really busy, but I've wanted to sit down and record a podcast just to check in, see how everyone's doing. It is, believe it or not, halfway through October, which is insane. I remember recording a bunch of podcasts last year because of a lot of it was because I had a lot more time off because of the pandemic. But I wanted to check in with everyone, see how the month of October is going for everybody. How are your decorations going? Do you know what you're going to decorate? Have you even started? Some people still haven't started. How are you going on all the lists that people are doing, like the Halloween movies list and the Drawlaweens and all the cool stuff that happens in October? How are you guys holding up with that? I have not been able to keep up with most of it. Putting on a show or an event is very time consuming. For anyone that does it, you understand. I'm gearing up to start mailing out the second year of the Preserve or the Halloween Preservation Society memberships. All of the items have arrived, and I'm very excited about what is going out this year. I am changing it up a little. The cool thing about doing anything is you can learn the process and what works and what doesn't work. And I've learned that mailing individual buttons is kind of a pain when it comes to the post office. So I swapped out those with the die cuts decorations this year and patches, which is something I wanted to do last year, and it's something that people had asked for. I just didn't know really where to get them, and I had already pretty much announced what I was going to do before people started asking about it. So, but patches are part of the second year. And for those of you who were first year members and you've re-upped for the second year, I'm thinking of doing something special for you guys for just a thank you for sticking with me. I didn't do all the things I planned on doing for the first year of the memberships. There's a lot that I had in mind or planned to do. It was a lot of fun. It's really exciting that so many people want to preserve Halloween as much as I do and just want to be a part of the community. So I thank everyone for joining. I'm really excited about sending out the new stuff. I'm really happy with how everything has turned out so far. But let me catch up on some of the things I've been wanting to talk about. I will be in Texas in about a week. If anyone wants to come and say hello or, talk to me or just have fun at an event that is going on that celebrates Halloween. This Salina, Texas is putting on an event called Beware of the Square. And since I signed up for it, they have also been designated as the official Halloween capital of North Texas by a judge named Chris Hill. It's a very similar story to the Anoka, Minnesota, self-proclaiming themselves as the Halloween capital of the world. I posted on Facebook the other day about, who is truly the first of anything when it comes to Halloween. I constantly am looking at archives and newspaper records and anything I can get my hands on to find out who was the first in the United States to officially, do something like a parade or a Halloween celebration. And I have a few answers. There's like 4 or 5 cities that could claim they are the first. And it's fun to keep researching it, and I don't ever want to know an answer because I want to keep looking. So I'm going to keep, scouring the internet and anything I could get my hands on to see what who is the first for, Halloween in general for a lot of things. But I am an official vendor, or not me personally, but the Halloween Preservation Society is an official vendor at Boyer the Square for this year, and it happens on October 23rd, and the hours are from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m., and I think at 9 o'clock is when it starts. They're showing a movie. So come down to Salina, Texas, or come over, or wherever you are, come to Salina and visit. It's just outside of the DFW area. I'm trying to decide still if I want to fly or if I'm going to drive. I'm probably going to drive so I can go do some other stuff. I'd really like to go visit Scream Hollow again. That was a lot of fun the last time I was in Texas. Visit the gas station in Bastrop where they shot Texas Chainsaw Massacre. There's a lot of new things popping up. I want to visit Paul Bearer Press, which is a really cool vendor that sells some shirts that I own, and I've met them at a lot of shows. They are opening up a store in Austin, so that's cool. I want to go hang out there. I always love to visit Austin because I can go record shopping, or I can just, go hang out. It's got a lot of really good food, and there's always something going on in Austin. But I'm probably going to kind of explore around Texas. I don't have a ton of time to do it, but I do want to kind of hang out while it's October. I'd really love to go visit the Bat World Sanctuary. It's kind of out of the way for most of what I go to Texas for, but I will be doing some raffles or auctions to raise money for what they're doing, because I'm really behind their organization, as well as Ween Dream, and people like that are always, I want to help them as much as I can. So maybe I can go visit them, see some cool bats. Not sure if that's going to happen, but anyway, there's really this is one of those podcasts that I just decided to hit record and kind of see what comes out. I'm going through my emails now to see if there was anything that I wrote down to talk about. The big thing was I do want to put some more effort into researching a couple of towns that I have read about recently. I posted some newspaper articles from the 1800s about Halloween and Halloween parades and Halloween celebrations. So I'm just fascinated with the history of, Halloween in the United States and how it came to be. I know what I was going to talk about, and it just came to me. Like I said, these podcasts, I don't really edit. I just start recording and whatever comes out of my head. But I've been getting a lot of good recommendations on Bandcamp for music for Halloween, because there's a lot of lists this month. I've talked about that in the past. Some are very good, some are horrible. A lot of things have nothing to do with Halloween, and they try to make it or force it to be Halloween related so that they have something to publish. I'm talking about magazines, newspapers, just media in general. A lot of times, I go to read an article and it just super disappointing because it has nothing to do with Halloween at all. It's just, let's slap Halloween on it and maybe someone will read it. And that's what, unfortunately, a lot of articles now, or this month, I have Google alerts for Halloween that, it's going off like crazy this month, but a lot of it is just, the word is mentioned. It's not really anything beneficial to me. I'm excited. I'm about a month away from heading to Texas and putting on the inaugural Preserve Halloween Festival. I'm excited, but I'm also very terrified. I've talked about imposter syndrome plenty of times on this podcast because I want everyone to be okay with having it, because I think everyone has it in some form. But I'm feeling it big time right now because, the show's a month away. It's about to be a reality. I hope everyone comes and has a good time. I'm working on a few more added things to put into the show. We just announced Kat Cressida. I was really excited to add her to the guest list. She was the final. There was a few people I had in mind to add to the show. She was one of them. Some of the other ones didn't pan out. So she ended up being the last guest that I announced. And for those who don't know, she's a voice actress or voice actor. And she has worked for ESPN and Disney. And, her main roles for me, and the reason why I chose to want her at the show, was she does the voice of Constance Hatchaway, the bride from the Haunted Mansion. When they revamped the ride and they added some backstory to her character, she was chosen to be the voice. She's also the voice of Little Girl Lost on the Tower of Terror ride. And she voices Dee Dee from Dexter's Laboratory in some non-Halloween or horror-related roles. And she's also the backup to, not the backup, I guess, but whenever Joan Cusack can't do the roles from Toy Story of the cowgirl, Kat fills in for it. So she's the voice on some of the rides at the park, and any of the properties where Joan's not available, Kat fills in. So it's really cool. She has a really well-rounded resume. She's the voice of pardon the interruption for any sports fans. She also was the voice on The Draft for ESPN. So you've heard her voice most likely somewhere. So I'm really excited to add her along with all the other 11 guests that we have. It's going to be a fun show. I'm about to go heavy into more promotions to end out this month. It's the perfect time to promote a Halloween show. I've gotten asked at least once a day, probably 10 times a day or more, why am I doing the show in November? And this is the reason why, is because I can spend this month promoting the show to those people who love Halloween and want to continue celebrating beyond October 31st, much like a lot of us. I want to continue. I love Halloween all year round. I know it sounds like a cheesy answer, but that's what I say when people ask me, why are you doing the show in November? I love Halloween all the time. I mean, my last name's Hallows, so that's the other joke is, I kind of feel obligated to celebrate and preserve all this stuff because it's my name. But I really hope everyone's having a wonderful October. I just watched the few of the episodes of the Elvira 40th anniversary on Shudder. I also watched Joe Bob's Halloween Hoedown, which I knew, or I had a feeling that people weren't going to be happy with the selections. I don't think anyone will ever be happy until he shows Halloween 3, which I doubt he ever does. At this point, it's kind of a running joke. Once he shows it, like that ends. It's like, watching a sitcom where, the main storyline is the two main characters, are in love and just never get together. Well, once they do, the show's over. So I kind of equate it to that. I know Darcy wants Halloween 3 to be shown on anything Joe Bob's related to. But, once you do it, that's it. It's done. You can't ever change the fact that you showed it. So I hope he holds out like forever and never shows it. I would love to hear his thoughts on the movie and his, encyclopedic knowledge of just film history. It's always wonderful to sit and talk to him. I've done it a few times, or I've been privileged enough to do it a few times and just sit and talk to him about movies and just in general. And it's awesome. So I'm excited that other people can have that experience at the event. So I think I'm going to cut it off there. I really want to know what you guys are doing for Halloween. What are you preparing to do for the actual night of? Maybe we can plan some kind of get together online, this like a scener, or like I did before, show the movies and y'all just hang out and chat. Halloween's not an easy night to do that, so maybe the night before, like Halloween Eve, All Hallows Eve, or All Hallows Eve. Maybe we can plan something. So let me know what you think. Email me or hit me up on Instagram or Facebook, and just keep preserving Halloween.
Well, I'm going to do a little Halloween history here first. Most people think Halloween came from the Gaelic festival of, how do you say that? How do you say it? Everybody tells me different. Samhain. Well,
No,
it's not Samhain.
No.
It is not Samhain.
People correct that all the time.
No, it's something weird that has nothing to do with the letters Samhain. But it was a celebration of the end of the harvest season and the beginning of the dark nights of winter. And in the Gaelic lands like Scotland and Ireland, those nights are very dark and very long and very cold. And so it was believed that when you're crossing over into the darkness, there's this day where this world and the underworld, meaning the place where all the dead spirits go, could mix together. And so there were these fairies, spirits from the other side, who would come into our world and screw with us. So what we would do is we would put on a disguise so the fairies couldn't find us, and because they might haul our asses back to hell with them. So you would also set stuff on fire so that the fairies wouldn't come close to you. Okay, so on the Celtic calendar, the new year starts on November the 1st, at the beginning of the darkest days of the year. See, these were not joyful people. Let's just start with that. These were grim sons of bitches that started this stuff. And the other importance of Fairy Day, October 31st, is that if you were a druid high priest, you could predict the future. So everybody put on an animal head and a loincloth, and you lit a big fire, and you sat around and you waited for the head druid to tell you what was going to happen next year and to keep the dead people away while you were doing that. And you would sacrifice animals in order to, protect yourself. And sometimes you would sacrifice human beings.
Are you sure about your history on this?
No, I'm not sure about any of this stuff, because it's all very confusing. Try to study the history of Halloween. It's very confusing because the Catholics get involved. The Catholics come along and they say, hey, we got to stop this stuff you people are doing. And so they said, instead of doing the druid rituals, let's just have honor the dead days. So we'll have All Souls Day, and on November 1st, we'll honor all the Christian martyrs, and that'll be Halloween. And if you still want to do something on October 31st, you want to dress up like a saint, go ahead and, that's the way to celebrate October 31st. And everybody went, screw that, we're having too much fun. But we are going to dress up like angels and devils and ghosts. And
I've seen some people dress up like saints on Halloween.
What, Saint Drogo?
Who?
Saint Drogo, supposedly the saint of repulsive people. So anyway, the reason I'm talking about Catholicism is that modern Halloween doesn't happen until the Irish potato famine of the 1840s, when all these Irish Catholic people, those are your people, right?
You're welcome.
Yeah, they came over to the U.S., and what they brought to the party is the trick-or-treat tradition. Now, people don't even know what that means anymore. It means on October 31st, all the children are free to do whatever the heck they want to do. They're liberated for that night. And what they wanted to do was run around the neighborhood threatening the adults. The kids it was like a protection racket. If you give us candy or money, we will not throw paint on your house or dig up your garden. And also, one more thing they did. Young women would use Halloween to tell their fortunes, mainly their romantic fortunes, and they would do this by bobbing for apples. So if you got that apple on the first try, you're going to marry a stud millionaire, you know. If it took you 9 tries to get the apple, you're going to get paired with a guy named Hiram who pumps gas at the Texaco station. And then I would add 2 things that make up modern Halloween to the official history. And one of those is that Castro Street Halloween parade in San Francisco. That thing started around 1963, and that inspired Halloween parades all over America. And the other one was the movie Halloween in 1978, which pretty much sent the message that it's this holiday where everything gets turned upside down and the boogeyman rules.